A call meant for peace turned into a clash of egos. Trump, furious, blunt, unfiltered, snaps at Netanyahu, "You're always so fucking negative." Inside the world's most volatile alliance, tempers flared, threats flew, and a fragile ceasefire hung by a thread. The line between peace and pride just blurred. In Washington, a tense phone call between US President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has exposed a rare public rift over how to interpret Hamas's reaction to the Trump administration's Gaza peace proposal. As reported by Axios, the exchange occurred on October 3rd, shortly after Hamas said it welcomed parts of the US plan, but insisted more talks were needed. A US official familiar with the call said Netanyahu downplayed the response as "nothing to celebrate," prompting Trump to retort.
"I don't know why you're always so fucking negative. This is a win. Take it."
Trump to Netanyahu on call. Source: Axios, October 5th, 2025. The American official described the conversation as somewhat combative, noting that Trump was irritated by Netanyahu's pessimism, but that both sides eventually found common ground.
Ultimately, President Trump wants peace, and that's what matters most. The administration is already working closely with Israel to accomplish that.
Unnamed US official. Source: Axios, October 5th, 2025. An Israeli source later told the Times of Israel that while there was disagreement, the discussion was not acrimonious.
Bibi wasn't happy with the Hamas response. He didn't think it was a yes.
The dispute highlights Trump's determination to push Netanyahu towards ending the war if Hamas is willing to negotiate. Behind the scenes, Trump's envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are preparing for indirect talks in Egypt this week. Since the call, Trump has publicly urged Israel to halt airstrikes in Gaza and warned Hamas against delay tactics, signaling Washington's renewed drive to convert fragile openings into a potential ceasefire deal. Complete obliteration. Trump has warned that Hamas faces complete obliteration if the group refuses to surrender control of Gaza, as Washington intensifies efforts to secure a ceasefire between Israel and the militant group. Speaking to CNN's Jake Tapper via text, Trump said Hamas must cede power or face total destruction. Asked about the group's response to his 20-point ceasefire plan, Trump said that only time will tell, adding that he expects clarity soon on whether Hamas is serious about peace. In a Truth Social post on October 4th, Trump said Israel had agreed to the initial withdrawal line outlined in his proposal and that a ceasefire would take effect immediately once Hamas confirms.
After negotiations, Israel has agreed to the initial withdrawal line, which we have shown to and shared with Hamas. When Hamas confirms, the ceasefire will be immediately effective. The hostages and prisoner exchange will begin, and we will create the conditions for the next phase of withdrawal, which will bring us close to the end of this 3,000-year catastrophe. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and stay tuned.
Later on October 5th, Trump told reporters that negotiators had held very good meetings. He added that talks in Egypt this week aim to finalize the release of hostages and establish the first phase of withdrawal.
We're going to do very quickly. We had some very good meetings. The countries of the world, a lot of the countries surrounding Israel, frankly, Muslim, Arab, and many others have had great meetings with Hamas, and it looks like it's working. So we'll wait for a little while, see how it all turns out.
When will the administration begin firing?
I think it'll work very quickly. I think it's going to go very quickly. The meetings seem to be very good. We'll find out. We'll let you know soon.
The US president also asserted that it was a great deal for Israel.
Well, it's a great deal for Israel, and it's a great deal for everybody. And you want to get your hostages back, right? You want them back, or do you not want them back? And it's a great deal for Israel. It's a great deal for the entire Arab world, Muslim world, and world. So we're very happy about that.
Despite renewed Israeli airstrikes over the weekend, Trump insisted that time is of the essence to prevent further bloodshed. Meanwhile, Netanyahu is confronting a growing rift within his far-right coalition as Trump intensifies pressure to end the war in Gaza. Netanyahu has backed Trump's 20-point ceasefire plan, which calls for Gaza's demilitarization while ruling out a future governing role for Hamas. The move has angered key ultra-nationalist ministers, including Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich, who warn they will quit the government if Hamas is allowed any continued presence. Their opposition threatens to fracture Israel's most right-wing coalition and could push the country towards early elections. Israeli government spokesperson Shosh Bedrosian said on October 5th that there is no ceasefire in Gaza, only a temporary halt in some bombings, and that the military continues to act for defensive purposes.
This development comes with talks that will be taking place in Egypt, as the Prime Minister instructed the team, led by Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer, to finalize the technical details of the release of the hostages, a priority and first step of this deal. Now, the team will be leaving tonight, with plans for talks to begin tomorrow. And I want to reiterate, these are technical talks. Israel's government has agreed to the first phase of this deal, which is the release of all 48 hostages at once. As President Trump confirmed, it has been agreed to. Hamas, the terror organization, will need to release our hostages. Israel's team of negotiators will be meeting in Egypt to iron out these very specific details on the first phase right now. While certain bombings have actually stopped inside of the Gaza Strip, there's no ceasefire in place at this point in time, although there has been this temporary halt in certain bombings. The Prime Minister has given orders actually for defense to fire back for defensive purposes, of course, if there is a threat to their life in the battlefield in Gaza.
The Prime Minister has given orders, actually, for defense to fire back for defensive purposes, of course, if there is a threat to their life in the battlefield in Gaza. Shosh Bedrosian, Israeli government spokesperson. Despite tensions at home, Netanyahu's team is expected to join ceasefire talks in Cairo, as Trump urges both sides to seize what he calls a narrowing window for peace.